We've got our man Abdul Farouk. Oh shit, I said the wrong name. All right, let me get started again. All right, guys, today on the number one podcast in the info coaching space, we've got our man Uzair Farouki. He is the media buyer, the top media buyer, or one of the top media buyers in the space, spent $100 million on ads, then turned it to $300 million. Worked on huge fitness, agency, Amazon, Airbnb, and Kindle coaching offers, which actually 3 of them hit over $1 million a month. And I know him personally through actually working on an offer together. And he's also the brother of Abdul Farouki, which you guys, which we already shot an episode together with an editor. If you could pop that up over here on the screen, so you could go and check that out if you guys want to. But anyway, today, Uzi, it's just going to be more conversational, more chill. I want to ask about your story on how you got into this info coaching space. And then also with the info marketing and media buying specifically, could you provide some sauce on the 5 offers that you've just crushed it for the media buying side, and how you're able to, the strategies and tactics that you were able to utilize to scale those to such high numbers. And then also just overall tactics and strats and frameworks in terms of specific media buying in the info coaching space. And, things like that. Do you mind if I ask about that today, bro?
Let's do it, man. I'm excited for this. Thanks for having me here, Tim. Let's just get right into it, eh?
All right, let's go, bro. So I know that you started with dropshipping specifically, and that's what got you into business and then specifically into the info coaching space. But first, could you tell me that real quick story, shortened there? Let's start with what year, what month, and what age, just ballpark, did you start that journey? Where were you life-wise? I think you were in college. Kind of give me a rundown.
Yeah, no, 100%. So when I started dropshipping, that was back in 2017, end of 2016, start of 2017, started dropshipping.
And I think a big thing that I see a pattern with of the best media buyers in this info coaching space is that they actually have a lot of that e-com experience. And because in e-com, you have to really check your numbers and really, really be careful on all the small things, because those small things lead to because e-com, you get 20%, 10% margins, and you better watch that shit or else you're literally going to go broke. Okay, so you went from that then into info coaching. How did you get into this industry?
So in 2019, did dropshipping for a few years. With dropshipping comes a lot of these business nuance headaches of hey, you got to manage every single thing. And I was a one-man team taking care of customer service. I had some VAs as well that helped out near the end of my dropshipping career. But then by then I was hey, what if I just focus on one aspect of that dropshipping business? And that one aspect was, marketing, front-end ads, media buying. So through there, I got introduced to a fitness influencer, right? And while I was dropshipping, I just took this client on the side, started marketing for them, just running Facebook ads, right? Only focusing on one thing. So when we got him on, he was doing 20K a day, 20K a month, and then took him to 300 to 400K per month just using Facebook ads. And yeah, scaled them up in 2019.
Hell yeah, awesome. So it's 2019, you are at 2019, so it's 2 years after you started the drop shipping, because you did it 2017. Nice. And you got introduced to him. This is now kind of the world's converging now, right? With the other podcasts, because a lot of people here, they watch the Abdul one too. And then in that one, Abdul talks about the fitness person. So how did you get that first connect to, by the way, this fitness creator, he had millions of followers, right? Let's just call him Johnny. How many followers did he have? He had 700K back then, right?
Yeah. So when we started, it was around under a mil, maybe 500 to 700K. Could be even lower. I can't remember.
On YouTube.
On YouTube subscribers, yes. So most of the 20K he was making was just through the organic side, right? He's never
20K.
Yeah, and
that many subs is crazy.
Yeah. The thing with fitness too, right, is you get the whole world. If you're producing good content, you're going to get folks from Asia, you're going to get folks from South America, things of that nature. So it becomes harder as a US product to really buy that US product or fitness thing, right?
That's why you need the media buying.
Exactly. And we just focused on USA. We didn't really expand out into other markets, and we got him to 400K per month. And yeah, that was the end of that side.
Awesome. Okay, so let's talk about it though. Wait, just quick context. The intro was your brother was already on the offer, and then he brought you on as like a contractor back then? Because you guys weren't like fully in the
Yeah.
company together, right?
So contractor, so he was like, hey, you're doing some stuff with drop shipping. And with drop shipping overall over the 2 years, I was able to like generate close to 1 to 1.5 million through the multiple stores I ran. Obviously that was not profit, right? That was just like top line revenue. And he's like, you're doing a phenomenal job, learn by yourself, crushing in the drop shipping space. Why don't you just like see what you can do here as well? And back then, right, like it wasn't like retainer based or anything. It was like, if you do well, you'll get paid type of thing. So it's like blood, just like sweat equity in a way, because you're kind of proving yourself out. So that's kind of how that, relationship built and got that fitness influencer.
What was the rev share?
With me,
Yeah, like that you got for the fitness influencer.
once we started doing well, it was like a retainer. So I think it was like 2 or 3K retainer plus performance based. So if you were over an X amount of ROI in the back end, I would get like some sort of like percentage on that profit based agreement. I started making like 8K or something along those lines, 5 to 8K just from that.
Nice, so solid. But let's just talk about now, like what the funnel was, and then how you ended up doing it. So, what was the funnel, and then what was like the main strat that you used in order to get all the sales?
It was a low ticket product on the front end, $67, and it had multiple offerings. So it ran through a quiz funnel, and based on your answers, it gave you one of the three options. One was shredding, one was leaning, I believe, and one was building mass. So three different options. All the products were $67 on the front end. What we
Interesting.
did
So, it
for,
went
yeah,
quiz. Sorry. I just want to get this clear. It was quiz to low ticket, or it was like low ticket then a quiz.
quiz to a low ticket. So we would just ask them like
Interesting.
about, I can't remember how many questions, but like 8 to 10 questions, let's say, that basically figured out based on their questions. Hey, are they looking to build muscle? Are they looking to get shredded? Or are they looking to just, get lean or something? Through that questionnaire, you could see the product. There was a short video of, hey, this is why this is good for you. And hey, you can buy it for $67. And there you go. That was simple funnel on the front end. My job was to, drive traffic, get people in the door. We were doing like 1.5 to 2x ROAS just on the front end. So we were getting like people in the door. But that was obviously back in 2019.
Right. Back in 2019. But like, were there any order bumps, or not even order bumps, like upsells after the first? Wow, that's crazy.
No,
Only
so
67.
yeah,
Or
so
1.5 to 2x.
exactly. So that was like, obviously, the market has changed in 2026, but back then, right, like we were doing like 1.5 to 2 point something X month over month just on the front end. So we started crushing it, generating revenue. And then the next step was actually to bring in a high ticket upsell ascension model into the $67 buyers. And we launched
Wait, you know
that.
what I'm also curious
Yeah.
about? Sorry to cut you off here, but I want to ask this before, because it's like still staying on the first concept. Or did you have the same funnel link inside of the organic? Like, because he had a YouTube, I think he had an IG and TikTok too, right?
It was all separated out. So we had different funnels for organic side. We didn't really touch the organic. Like he kind of like focused on the organic side himself. What our main goal was focusing just on paid with a different funnel, different subdomain as well. And yeah, we just ran with that.
Did you get a rev share on the organic at all, or like none of it on the organic and only on paid?
Just paid side.
Dude, what? What? Oh my god, that's actually a huge hole. Because like I've like ran organic offers, right? And so I'm cognizant about that. Like you could have included more like direct response on the organic. No, because like he was only doing 20K. If you got percentage of that, then because 700K just like left there's crazy. You know what I mean?
Yeah, like you could have done so many things with the organic side, but with paid as well, right? Like if paid starts getting bigger and bigger, organic also starts to get bigger and bigger, right? Just because like people search him up, who is this person? They go on the YouTube, they go on their IG, they started following him. So
I
it's
thought
like
it was on the whole offer. That's so interesting. This is the first time I heard about that. Interesting. So you guys didn't? Did you guys get a share at all about organic or no?
organic was so small, so it was like kind of like minimal, right? Like we just
Oh,
focused on
bro, because there's a lot of strats that you could do there. more CTAs, like 30% CTA, 70% CTA, and then also like doing a more organic optimized funnel? I know a lot of kids that like make a shitload of money like that.
No, 100%. Like, yeah,
Interesting.
that's 2019 to 2025, right? Like, there's so much more organic learnings.
Right. That's also true. Back then, like organic wasn't as experienced. Interesting. Okay, then let's shoot over to like what were the strats that you did do on paid though? I remember like you talking about some cool like retargeting and segmentation strats that you did across like 0 to 90 days, like what that flow looked like. So maybe you could talk about a little bit about that.
Back then, like retargeting was massive, and it is right now as well if you have the right strategies, obviously. But that's when I learned like full on retargeting, right? And leading with value first and then asking later. So we had like a whole 90-day retargeting strategy that we mapped out, and it started with like zero. So if when they saw the ad on Meta, Google, you could create different segments of audiences of like 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 30, based on where they are in the funnel. So we created all of that. From what I remember back in the day, it was like 0 to 4 or 0 to 3 days. Hey, here's a link to the checkout. Go ahead and buy the product type of thing. Then from 7 or 3 to 7, it was like more value based of like, hey, this is how you do this training properly. This is how, you build muscle. So just giving out free info, because this influencer had a ton of great content, right? So we were able to use all of that in our ads as well. And then from 7 to 14, it was a bit of a different strategy of like we're pushing this promo at the stage. You are able to get a 5% discount or 10%. I can't remember the exact value. So it was like a promo based thing, more giving away something, and then back to the value based from 14 to 30. And the way we pushed content was figuring out like what really worked well on organic and then showing that the time series as well. So for example, one of the hottest topic was like how to squat properly and how to deadlift properly, right? The do's and don'ts type of thing. So we would push that content and give value, right? And then somewhere in between, the 14 to like 60-day mark, we also had like testimonial based of like, hey, this person went from here to here. I know on Meta now, showing the before and after is like a bit trickier. But back into before COVID times, like 2019, it was all good.
Sorry, quick pause there. Why is it trickier? Why is it trickier to show the before and after these days?
So now it's a bit harder to show like this person went from here, this body type to this body type, especially on the fitness and health side.
Oh,
Meta
so saturated.
Meta policies actually don't really like showing specific results unless you do it in like a unique way. But they don't really like it. Ads
In
could
the
get
fitness
rejected.
space or like business? Because to be honest, like I'm not the deepest in fitness. Like I've only done more like business offers, or like biz up offers. So like biz up, you could show the results, but like fitness, you can't show that.
Fitness, yeah, exactly. You can't really show that on BizOp. You can, you could have testimonials on Meta, but then, and maybe we could get more into this later, is like compliance on Google and YouTube. You're not even able to like run any testimonials, say, any making money claims of like, hey, I made this much or this person made this much, things of that nature. There are ways to get around it, but it's very, very strict these days.
I didn't know that. Wow. But the Facebook side, why not fitness? Like, is it because they would assume like, oh, these are different people?
Yeah,
How can Meta even tell that?
there is policies of like health and fitness of like showing different people and what they've gone through and showing the before and after, because that's like sensational marketing in a way. The algorithms don't like it, the policies don't like it, so that's why it's a bit stricter.
Interesting. It's like all the supplement ecom guys messed it up.
Yeah, exactly, right.
It just ripped all those testimonials.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
but yeah, that was a full on retargeting flow, right? Like 0 to 90, just giving away value. Obviously, having a promo in there, testimonials in there, and then obviously getting them back onto the page. And those retargeting ads, like back in the day, were like absolutely crushing it. Like, and that was one of the reasons why our front end ROAS was healthy. When you merged the cold ads with the retargeting, it was close to like 1.5 to 2x above. But if you looked at the retargeting by itself, it was like 5x above, right? Obviously, you're not spending as much on the retargeting, but the ROI from that was just insane.
Very good. And I guess with both of those blended there, that led to the cool result. I'm curious about this. With, I would say, the upsells, right? Did you run any ads, or sorry, the upsells in terms of like the high ticket 4K, right? That was where your other brother Wahaj ran that sales team, or he was like a closer on there, which we'll
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
Yeah,
So there was no connection with the front end, like running ads to the upsell offer because it's an upsell offer. It's behind. It's gated
got it. So
behind.
it's all like a sales team
Yeah, it's
game.
gated behind the $67 low ticket front end.
That's so crazy, bro. That a low ticket with no upsells was profitable. That's nuts. Like these days, that would literally be impossible.
It would be very tough to unless you have an insane offer, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I guess speaking of Wahaj there, like we'll definitely interview him later. But I was just curious if you had like any retargeting ads or like bottom of funnel ads only to the people that were 4K. But I guess not. Or
No, we
got it.
didn't run.
Okay. So it was when you're saying cold, by the way, so you're running like two campaigns, right? One was the retargeting and then one was the colder one. What was like your split of spend like? Was it like 50-50 or how did you kind of go about that?
It was way more on cold. Like it was like 95.5% type of thing, maybe 90% 10. On retargeting, you don't really need to spend as much because the pool is just a bit smaller, right? And your ad frequency starts to go up as you scale up the retargeting side. Um, so I remember on the retargeting side, our frequencies were like 5 or 6, which basically means like every person in that audience has seen the ad 5 to 6 times. And that's kind of like retargeting, right? You want to be upfront, you want to be in their faces with different formats, different ads, not the same thing over and over again. But on the cold side, the frequency is below like 1.5, and majority of the ad spend is inside the cold funnel.
Makes sense. Okay. Then I guess let's move on from there. Or I guess what ended up ending the relationship? Like what was the lesson that you learned there? Because it was a little bit of a messy way to end it.
Yeah, it was like, and it's the nature of business, right? It's like when you start making money, people start thinking like, oh, you haven't done much for me. That was the sum of it. Like you start making 400K, 500K per month, you're on your way to the rocket ship up. People may have a certain feelings of like, hey, yeah, this is all me, or you guys didn't do too much, things of that nature. And, that's how, relationships usually end. And that was the case there.
Interesting. What are like lessons that you took from that you don't do or do now in like a client relationship in order to manage that? Like maybe it was a scenario where you didn't, talk to him as much or, nurture that friendship. Like how did that go?
No, I think the relationship was definitely there, but it was just like, it was like suddenly overnight type of thing where, every single access was just gone. So it was so blindsided. Like nobody on the team knew anything. And it was on the back of hitting one of the biggest month in terms of like revenue, right?
Do they like not know that like you're the only one that like actually drives it though?
It wasn't just me, right? It was a whole team that was involved, sales side. And who knows, right? Maybe that person was having like back end conversations with other agencies. And at the end of it, it's usually like, hey, I don't want to just pay these guys this much. Let's just try these guys out. And that's kind of how it does, especially when the building blocks are established, right? The offer is created. We're on our way up, right? Month over month, we're increasing revenues. So now you have the plan in a way, and you don't want to send agency A this much or growth partner A this much, and you want to just hire an agency where your costs are going to be way more lower. But yeah, that's kind of like how that relationship went. The learning lesson on that was like not working with folks that have way more equity in a way, because you're basically building them from zero all the way to like one. You know what I mean? When you take them on there at zero, and when you get to the one mark, that basically means you've made it for them. So if you are doing it for people from 0 to 1, you want to have ownership on that project, right? Why? So you could
Not just
control
like an
it.
agency rev share.
Exactly. It's okay to have like agencies and rep shares, but if you're going from 0 to 1, then that might not be the case. But if you're just already at 1 to 1 type of thing, then you could have ref share, profit share, retainers, things of that nature. Because then you're just doing the work things are already built in the back end. It's a proven business, right? Because it's already at a one. And now you're just like doing marketing or copywriting or sales, things of that nature.
Because when you're going from 0 to 1, you're like, dude, I just did all this effort and you're going to kick me out. Like, this wasn't worth the amount of effort that I put in. Versus like if you're going from 1 to 5, then at least the base was there. Because the hardest part is 0 to 1. So now you're like 1 to 5, there's rev share, and sure, we don't get equity, but we are putting in less effort for more, like an equivalent amount of money that we're making.
Exactly. You're not going through as much headaches, not many roadblockers. You're not creating, right? You're just pushing in a way. So yeah.
That's a good way to look at it. Not creating, instead pushing. Do you think that after that, did he keep growing or did he just like get fucked up? Because I would assume if you have a team that was like already working, then if you switch things as you're moving up, shit wouldn't go too well.
So in terms of growing, right, when you have an organic presence, you're going to keep growing, especially when you're on YouTube or IG, you're already out there, you're already producing content. So in a way, he already had figured out the organic side because he was on his way up to grow, right? So I think he was at like 500 or 600 or maybe 700 subs. When we stopped, I think he was like above the 1 million mark, like 1.5 or something. Let me just take a look right now. And it's been like 5 years,
You're
right?
like,
So,
you're gonna look at the YouTube charts.
and right now he's at 7 million. So he's grown, right? During that time. So the organic's already figured out. I'm sure he's like making good money through the organic and whatnot. But yeah, dude, like who knows? He could have been even bigger, right? I'm just looking quickly inside like the ads library in Google and Meta, and it seems like he's not running any ads. So maybe that's like something that he wasn't able to figure out, or he was and he stopped, or I'm not sure what happened there. But if you have 7 mil followers, it's all good, I'm sure.
Right. Interesting. So then let's move on to the agency offer that you did. This is like agency coaching, essentially that one. You guys got that to $1.7 million a month. Huge offer. And that was actually like where your brother was the face of it, right? He was the guru. And you had like a separate guru as well too. Not too much to get to the nitty gritty and expose it, but let's talk about like the pillars of, at least on the media buying side, like what you learned, what you did there. So what were the main things that you did there that like crushed that? I have like a few notes here. One of them that I remember putting down is like the right messaging that resonated with the target audience. Tell me about sort of that concept.
Yeah, now this is like from 2019 to 2020 transition, right? And it was like the agency offer, and then I started also helping out someone in the Amazon space as well.
Oh, so you did it simultaneously.
Yeah, it was around the same time. The agency was first. It was like end of 2019 and start of 2020, while the Amazon was Q1 of 2020. So like around March or April time.
Got it. Right. And this is also COVID during 2020.
Yeah,
So you got all the stimmy money coming in. It was going crazy back then.
And looking back, right, like all a blessing in a way, but like looking back, the agency 2019, they already had a media buyer on the team, and then the media buyer was for just Facebook. And then in 2019, I went through like a course, invested 40K in this YouTube course and learned how to do YouTube
like a
ads.
Mastermind?
Yeah, exactly. So I learned how to do YouTube ads in 2019, end of 2019, and then the agency side already had Facebook, which they're running a decent amount. I was brought in as a YouTube side, right? I'm like, hey, I know how to do YouTube. Let me run it for y'all. We started pushing YouTube and just started crushing it, and that was all about ads, right? On Meta, people could get on Meta a lot easier. You have a few images through Canva or Photoshop, you could just push ads. You create short videos, 10 seconds, 20, 30 seconds, especially nowadays, right? You could get on TikTok, Facebook easily. With YouTube, it was all about like the ad creative. And that's one of the things I started learning a lot more and still learning, right? But that was like the biggest thing on YouTube. It's all about the front end ad and how you position it and how, especially on YouTube, there's a 5-second skip button and you're not able to skip the ad before the 5-second mark. But on Meta, there's no like wait time. You could just keep on scrolling. That was one of the things that I learned in 2020 was like how important the 5 seconds of the YouTube ad is. And if you don't have the right messaging, if you don't call out the right person, if you don't show the right pain point within that 5 second, that audience that you're trying to get into the funnel is going to most likely be gone because they're going to skip the button. And that's how we positioned our ads in 2020. And, they absolutely crushed. Then, like, I was able to, like, the fitness one, I think my highest day was like maybe like 5K a day. But then in 2020, I was pushing like 15K, 20K per day on YouTube for the agency offer.
What was the main messaging for the YouTube ads that made it crush?
It was just calling out the right person. And
do a live demo right now.
I can't remember the exact ad, but like we had this ad. It was a billboard ad, and it was a biz op niche, obviously. And within the 5 seconds, right now YouTube is a lot more heavy on compliance. But in 2020, it was for business owners first of all, right? That's the main avatar ICP, the agency offer. Entrepreneurs that want to start a business.
Right, like 9 to 5 or beginners that want to start a business
and make money online. So within the 5 seconds, we were able to, create a line where it said like, I can't remember the exact line, but it was like something to do with like starting an online business and earning passive income. And that was packed obviously it was said in a much better way. But we were able to within the first 5 seconds.
I've seen one of them. Because I remember like having access to Abdul's YouTube. I was like, I'm at the beach here, and I was like some shit like that.
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah, I can't remember this because it was like 5 years, right? But anyways, like we were able to like call out the right person that is looking to start a business. Call out like, hey, this is something that you can make money with as well. And now that person is hooked on, right? Now they watch the next 5 seconds, and they watch the next 5 seconds, and the next 5 seconds, and you slowly unpack the ad, but you don't show too much because now it went through a VSL funnel. So that was the agency offer. Something else was like with YouTube, it was not just about the scripting, but also the visual hooks, what you showed in the ad itself, the sound effects, the music playing in the background, right? All of that combined basically make winning ads. Because on YouTube, if you think about it, even to this day versus Facebook, on Facebook, you're just scrolling. Your senses, you're just looking, right? But on YouTube, you have more senses on because you probably have your headphones in. You're probably watching some sort of music video or educational video, right? Your headphones are on, so you're not only watching, but you're also listening. So that's two senses that are enabled with YouTube. So that's also a huge part with YouTube ads. Like you gotta like use that to your advantage to create a winning ad. One of the biggest winning ads that we had, I think it had like 50 to 60 million views. And this was for the Amazon offer that we started in 2020, right? And it was like a loud bang and someone up front to the camera just saying stop, right? Really loudly. So if you're listening to that and you're just like doing your work or whatever on YouTube and you're like, oh shit, what's going on here, right? It kind of like messes up your flow of your day. There's a pattern interrupt right there. And then right away, it said something about like, did you know like Amazon sellers or something along those lines are making this much? And if you're an Amazon seller, you have your attention, right? I have your attention now. And I'm going to look at the ad and go to the next page. And
well, if you want to be an Amazon seller, right? Because it was like hitting everybody. Yeah, I remember it was like, every time that you buy something on Amazon, I make $1.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, I make $75.
So that was a great ad. I think we had 50 to 60 million views on that ad. And yeah, one of the things I learned, at least on the Amazon offer, was like iterations. We probably tried like 600, 700 ads on that offer.
And quick pause, like the Amazon offer, that one, the highest it got to was like 1.6 million a month.
I think it went all the way to like 2 or something, 2+.
Oh, wow. Nice.
Yeah. And we were absolutely crushing it. I was able to spend like 20, 30K days on it. Blessing in disguise, COVID, right? And I said this earlier, which is the Amazon offer. I got hired for that offer for running in-person events, right? In March 2020, when the world was still open, right? The world started closing in, or I think it was like February or January, something along those lines. So it was actually like selling tickets, and we sold like 200, 300 tickets or something to this event where the person talks about Amazon FBA. So you're trying to get people in the door that want to learn how to start Amazon, and it's in-person events in Vancouver, BC. So then COVID happened, all the venues started shutting down. You can't do all of this stuff, right? And that's where the digital side of Amazon FBA was born. And, I was involved in that as well in terms of the front end marketing, media buying, everything of that.
Wait, so what do you mean the digital side? Like initially the offer was only doing in-person events? Like that was their only way to get like customers, or was it
Yeah,
to get their
exactly.
sales?
Only way to get customers into the product.
So wait, hold on. I just want to make sure. So the main product, was it you guys doing in-person events, or was it that the first ticket that you sold for an in-person event was how you got people into your digital product?
Yeah, the second one. So selling in-person events only locally,
Why did he do that?
not too
Was he like
sure.
a noob coach back then?
Not too sure. I think it was just like it still worked. It still worked really well, and that's probably the reason like we kept doing it. I think I ran like 5 or 6 different events, and then
So when
we
Abdul came in the offer first, you guys were initially doing basically like a live webinar, but like physical live
yeah.
webinar to get like
Before this
sales.
was just like I was running the ads, and nobody else was involved.
And you
But
guys didn't
then
have a call funnel back then.
no, no,
What? That's crazy. I didn't know
yeah.
that.
But then like I can't remember the exact phase of like did it happen after the venue started shutting down and we weren't able to do the events, or it was like we were building it in the back and then it came perfectly at the right time when things start shutting down. Now more people are online, more people are just watching YouTube. Everyone's online, and CPM, CPCs, everything's insane, right? The lowest they've ever been, because it's all about supply and demand. No one's commuting to work, no one's at a 9 to 5 office job. Everyone's at home on their laptop, on their phones, watching things on Meta, on Facebook, on YouTube. And it was just the golden era of, at least for my YouTube ads journey. You know what I mean?
Nice. Very good. I guess go back to the iteration thing. And then with this mass rush of you put $1 in and you get like a bunch of views instead of typically not getting as many views. What did you learn through that much data? Because you were talking about this iteration concept. Tell me about like that lesson there.
So the lesson there was like we tried so many ads, right? New ads, professional shoots, everything under the sun. And looking back, right, like we tested like 500 different scripts, 500 different ads, different faces. And then what I mean by iterations is like everyone basically wants, hey, if I'm an offer owner, I want new ads, right? That's what to say. I want new ads. But the thing with these ads is like you actually want iterations of winning ads. And that's what I learned there. So like, for example, the stop ad, right? During that phase, the goal was like, hey, we want to create more winning ads, right? And we started
And when you say
focusing.
winning ads, like different messagings instead of just the stop hook.
Yeah, so winning ads would just basically mean by like it's scaling, it's getting good ROI, it's bringing in highly qualified leads into the funnel because no one wants to be sitting with one winning ad in the ad account when you're spending 20, 30K a day, or like one winning ad and a few okay ads, right? So the goal was always like, hey, I want like 5 winning ads that are just crushing it all the time. So we tried so many different things and different messaging, like more educational based, more branded based, more funny things, random clips, right? But those did not work, right? We just spent money and just absolutely failed. Um, and then we started doing like, hey, why don't we just like shoot the same ad script with a different face? Shoot the same ad script somewhere else with different B-roll, with different music. And these are all iterations on winning ads, right? At one point, I had like the same ad, but different iterations of it, just producing great results, right? And that's what I learned, right? Like you could have a different face, same script, and now that ad is gonna, like resonate with someone else in the marketplace because it's a different face, different music. That ad is gonna resonate with someone else in the marketplace because they didn't like music A, but they like music B. It was all about iterating, and that's what I learned of like, hey, we should be iterating like 70 to 80% of the time, but also 20% of the time, sure, let's have brand new stuff, new ads that we're not really testing out, net new concepts. That's kind of what I learned with that one.
Got it. So the lesson there is 70 to 80% of the time, iterations of an existing winner, but different types or different variables within the same message. And then 20% is like complete different messages.
Exactly. Yeah.
Interesting. Do you think this still works these days? Because like from what I've been hearing on the internet, like my friends and people in the space, it's like now you need completely different messages. Meta doesn't like the same message, etc. Or like, what are you kind of seeing these days?
So Meta and YouTube both are going to be different. On the YouTube side, I could, spend a bit more time just because like I spend majority of the money I spent in ad spend is on YouTube. With YouTube, 110%, that still works. Obviously, you want to have different variation of the same hook that has worked. Because like, think about it this way, right? Like, let's say you have a winning strategy for trading because everyone loves investing. Everybody knows how to invest or is in the investing game. You have a winning strategy that works 50 or 60% of the time, right? And then you have a new strategy that works like 10% of the time. Where would you put more of your money in?
The
So
winning
that,
one.
yeah, you'll do the winning one, right? Where you have more confidence. And that's kind
What
of
about
how
Meta?
with Meta, it still works. In my opinion, it still works. But with Meta, you just need like different formats. You could push it as an image ad. You could push it as a carousel ad. The headline in the Meta, the primary copy. There's so many different variables in Meta as well. Even though there's a lot of variables on a video creative on YouTube. But yeah, with Meta too, it does work. But then you just need to like have more volume of ads on Meta to make it work really well. Like speaking to different ICPs, different buckets of your audiences. So Meta is more just like volume, while YouTube, if you find a winning ad, that could be just running for like 8 months, 12 months, 20 months. But at the same time, start creating iterations of it.
Interesting. Fair enough. Okay. And let's talk about the next one, the Airbnb offer. This one you guys got to 700K a month at the highest, right? And by the way, like how long does it take to get to 700K a month? Like what do you start at? And then in how many months like do you shoot up to that?
For that one, it was like starting at zero, right? You just start at zero, you build it up. If you're starting at zero, it takes a bit longer for sure. The first 3 months is all like building and iterating, optimizing, doubling down on the winners, culling the losers, right? And what I mean by that is like not just the front end of ads, but like the funnel itself, figure out the sales floor, the right messaging on the back end. So like all of that does take time, and usually it's like 3 to 6 months, all of that stuff. With the Airbnb offer, I think it took like 6 months, 7 months, 8 months, something along those lines.
To get to 700K a month.
Yeah.
Wow. How does it scale? Like first 3 months. Okay. Let's say it takes a month to build. That's like typical. Month to 2 months typically to build, as in like idea to funnel to add to everything. Okay, great. And then from month 2 to 6, what does that scale look like? Is like month 2, 3, 4. Like let's say month 1 you're done building. Then month 2 you launch, and you do like 10K the first month, or like even 30K the first month, depending on like how much test budget you have. If you have more capital, you could risk more. And then from there, is it like, what does that scale look like? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6? Like, can it tell me that breakdown?
When I say like month one is usually like year zero, and that's launch day. So like building is actually like pre-zero. You know what I mean? So it could
Got it.
take
So it
like
would be like -1, like T minus
exactly,
1 or T minus
exactly,
2.
exactly. And then at
Got it.
zero, you're launching, and typically it'll take like 6, 7 months to get to whatever frame you want to get to, like the 700K, for example. Yeah. So if you get zero calls, you're not going to be spending more than like 2K because something's wrong. Um, but obviously, we spent more and more. Why? Because there's calls being booked, there's sales being made. So when you're at that 5K mark, you want to prove out a few things, right? You want to prove out all the metrics within the funnel, all the conversion rates within the funnel, which is like landing page to opt-in page to VSL page to application to call booked, and then show up everything after that, right? Everything's looking good. You keep on spending a bit more money. And on the front end, what you'll be doing is like, you'll most likely be testing audiences, different types of audiences. You'll be testing different ads that you have built during T-2 to T-1. And now you're looking into like the ad metrics of like, hey, is ad A and ad B, are they the same? Are they within KPI? Is one bringing in a better qualified booking? If one is, you want to cull the other ones and start focusing on that one until you get a sale, right? Because once you get a sale, you could really double your budget really fast. So let's say you're spending 2K, you get a few sales that first month. I mean, not 2K, you're spending $200 per day, right? For the month, you spend 6K and you get 2 sales. So that's, let's say an average high ticket program, 6K, for example, here. So month one, you're at 6K ad spend and 12K in attributed revenue, right? So you're at a 2X right now. If that happens, you're going to double down and see where those sales came from, what ads, what campaigns, what audiences, what demographic, age ranges, things of that nature. And now you'll double down on, you're still going to be testing, right, from that $200, but now you want to get to the next level, which is closer to the 500 per day mark. And that new $300 budget, it's a bit of testing, maybe 10 to 20% of it, but the rest of it is on proven things that brought you the sales or bringing higher quality leads or calls. So you want to basically start doubling down on that. And then it's like you start just, it's a curve that goes upward to the right. And then it's just like doubling down on, it's when you find things that are working, you start doubling down fast. You want to scale up quick as long as there's capacity in the back end. You're not like straining the back end sales team, things of that nature. And then on the front end, if you're having profitable months, now it's like a good idea to start building new ads again, iterating on new ads, because you never want to be behind on new creatives because you always want to be testing a percentage of your budget. Because I've went through when your ad, you only have one winning ad and it just dies, right? And now everything in the funnel is just like low quality people coming in, and that's the worst place you could be at. So the goal is always keep pushing new ads as long as you're scaling, keep testing those out. And, if sales are coming in, you could keep doubling on your budgets.
What was the bottlenecks that you found in that first launch when you hit that first month for the Airbnb one? And then from there, how did you go about fixing it?
The bottleneck on that side was like the thing I learned there was like the back end sales team. It's not only about the front end marketing and the funnels, but it's so important on, the back end sales team as well. With the back end sales team, there was one solid closer and then the other two or three were like decent. So whenever we tried to scale and when scaling, one of the closers would like just go on vacation for like 2 weeks, right? And that wouldn't be communicated to the front end team. So like the connection with marketing and sales is so important. And that's the thing I learned, right? Like, which is like when that person left for 2, 3 weeks, we were like, oh, damn, like what's happening, guys? Like our ROAS went from a 3x to a 1.5x, right? Like what's happening? Is it the front end ads? Is it the funnel, something in the funnel? Like, and then after a week, we find out, hey, this person's actually gone. I'm like, okay, cool. Happened 2, 3 times actually. And I'm like, dude, like whenever this guy goes away, our ROAS dips. And, the offer owners would be like, hey, what's going on in the front end marketing? But then it's actually so important to have A-level closers, and the communication from marketing and sales need to be so tight to really scale offers. If one side's broken, whether it's marketing or sales, it doesn't really work. So that's the thing I learned, with that.
So how did you go about fixing that? Was it more like daily calls or was it a huddle? Like what was the tactical thing that you did to fix that?
Yeah, so it was like, you want to have at least one minimum call with the sales team per week. And at the same time, you want to be involved in the communication whenever there is, something happening with the sales team. So like implemented, I think there was like a vacation calendar. So we would have access into it and be like, oh, this person's leaving, during this time and things of that nature. So those are the two things that, helped us out.
Got it, 100%. Going back to the scale, right? 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, those months. Can you give me like a ballpark on the revenue? Was it like 10, 20, 50, 60? Actually, no, probably go higher, but yeah.
Honestly, like it was more along like you're in the lower five-figure ranges, right? On month one, which is like, let's say 10 to 20K. On month two, it's near the middle, which is like 50 to 100K, right? So you double basically. And then on month three, you're at like 150 to 200, even 300 potentially if everything's dialed in. And then it kind of like plateaus a bit because now, you're figuring out the bottleneck issues. You're most likely figuring out the back end sales team. You need better closers potentially. You need some sales assets. So that kind of hovers for like a month or two or even three. And then, we fix that issue and then it goes back up. And then you get to like 500, 600, things of that nature.
Interesting. I've seen that pattern with a lot of the info businesses, it's always stuck at that 300K range. Why do people get stuck at that range?
The best is like we have one offer right now. It's a relationship offer, and it's been stuck at the 300K range for the last like 8 months. And the reason why is the back end sales team, they don't have enough A-player closers. So there's a high churn rate on the back end closers, and been only one closer that's been consistent for the last 8 months. But everyone else comes and goes. So, we haven't been able to like scale up. Why? Because the back end sales team, we don't have enough closers that are able to produce the same level as that one closer.
Dude, that's so true because one closer, they're typically collecting like 150K. And then the other closers, I would say, make up the other 150K. And then from there, you get stuck because you can't solve the sales bottleneck. Is that typically how it goes?
Exactly. It's a ladder approach, right? Like when marketing starts to work, when you have at the start, it's really marketing heavy,
Marketing
right?
heavy.
Because you're trying to find the audience, you're trying to figure out the funnel, you're trying to find the winning ad, right? So it's very marketing heavy on month 1 and 2. But once you figure it out, then the ball gets more shifted towards the back end sales team. Like, hey, yeah, we have winning ads. People are coming in the door. You're trying to figure out the sales issue, which could be you need better closers, could be sales assets, could be things of that nature in the back end. But once that figure is sorted, now you're at a 300K, 400K mark, which is more of a combined effort now. You need to have front end marketing dialed in. You need to have winning creative. Your VSL should be humming and running. But at the same time, you need to have like multiple closers that are fully dedicated and producing at a high rate to really break that 300K mark and get to that 500K mark and beyond.
Once you snap 500K, is it like easy to a million, or what's like in between that phase? What is like another typical like bottleneck that you've seen to get to that million?
Then it's still a combined effort, right? Like you need to have creatives always like pushing new creatives, new iterations, new winning ads, refreshing on the front end marketing side. The funnel, you don't want to do too much with the funnel because like it's kind of dialed in. And then the back end is like, do we have a setting team? Do we have the right closers in place to get us to that 1 million mark? During that time, it is still more heavy on the back end sales side, just because the front end marketing should be humming and dialed in. You should be getting, a ton of creatives to be testing when you are pushing 500K in revenue. And as you scale, your testing budget also scales up, right? So you are able to like test a bit more, thing of that nature.
Yeah, I've seen like from the 500 to a million, it just like kind of goes up because it's typically like one sales manager that you crack, and then you're able to shoot it to the moon. So that actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, then now let's move on to your biggest offer, the Kindle one that you guys did. What was the month and year that you guys started this one? Because just a quick recap, the Airbnb was what month and year?
It might have been around the same time. The Airbnb one was, I think, 2022. And the Kindle was also around 2022.
Got it. So Kindle was end of 2022. Okay, cool. And that one you guys got to 2.2 million a month. So tell me about that one. What did you learn there? Obviously, like the funnel is a little bit different. So kind of break down the funnel.
Yeah, that one's like a webinar. Strategy. Yeah, webinar. So like slightly different, right? You're running a webinar to a mid-ticket 2K product, and then you have a back-end ascension for...
And just for some context for people, you guys came into the business when it was doing 30K a month. And then from there, it was already doing like an automated just-in-time.
Exactly.
Just-in-time webinar, right?
Exactly. So it was already doing it. And
sorry to interrupt, but wait, actually, why don't you do it? Tell the audience like what a just-in-time webinar is.
Yeah, so just-in-time is like, you sign up and you get directed to these webinar platforms. There's multiple, for example, Webinar Jam. And then it mimics a live on-demand webinar, essentially. So it seems like, it's a live webinar happening just in time as they signed up. They get access into it, and then you go to the webinar. It tells you the opportunity. It educates a lot as well, shows proof as well. So people are hyped up, ready to, get to the next step, which is, for this example, it's a 2K product that they buy. And yeah, they buy the product. It's the digital course. And then you also have a back-end ascension model, which is which ranges from 8K to 12K. And that's more like accountability, bootcamp, hand holding for the buyer lead. So that's kind of the journey.
And why do you think this worked? Because you said one big thing was the angle that you guys hit. Instead of like positioning as Kindle, it was, oh, that's interesting water. It's like a whole vase you got there. But you said it wasn't just Kindle that you positioned it as. It was like Amazon Digital with AI or something. So tell me about that.
Yeah, the AI one came like a bit later. I think it was more like end of 2024 or middle of 2024. But like at the start, it was just like Kindle publishing, things of that nature, like digital versus like physical products, right, on Amazon. So that was the main positioning at the start. The biggest thing was like finding a winner because like we made adjustments into the webinar, obviously, but then we also made adjustments on the front end with ad buying. Previously, they never, ran any YouTube ads. They only focused on Facebook. And with Facebook, I think they were just doing like 30K for the month in revenue. And that's about like, what, 15 buyers per month. And we got them in like 2022 November time. And by, I believe, March and April, we found a sick win, like a sick ad, pushed our YouTube traffic, made some adjustments into the webinar, created a solid funnel, and then we start scaling in about April or May time. And I believe we went from like we were hovering for the past previous 3 months about like 30 to 60K, right? Because you're iterating, you're building, you're testing, optimizing, and all that. And then March, April time found some winners, doubled down, right, really fast. And then we pushed from like 30 to 60, 150 to 200K, 300K, 500K, 700K, and then the million. I can't remember exactly how long it took us, but like I think within a year we were able to break the $1 million mark with the upsell ascension model as well. So, yeah, dude, that was a great offer, still running, and yeah, the learning was like combining everything, right? That was a learning. Like I learned a bunch of new stuff from like 2019, 2020, 2021, obviously 2022, and just scaling. So the biggest learning here was like scaling really, really fast. I was able to like previously, I think I scaled only until like 30K on one offer at a time. For this offer, I was able to scale to 60K a day, 70K a day just on YouTube. And the reason for that, I think, was like it was an online 2K product versus a call funnel. With the call funnel, things are lagged. It goes to a sales closer or a setter. So there's a delay for the buyer, right? With the webinar funnel, you go to the webinar, you see the checkout page, and you just end up buying a 2K product. So like Google gets data really fast. I'm able to see the data really fast. I'm able to scale quicker and push budgets. And yeah, that's kind of like the biggest thing that I went through for that offer.
Interesting. What was the ad angle that ended up hitting?
Multiple. We have like multiple winning ads here. We always do iterations. We always do like, all the learnings. We also do like 10, 20% net new angles. In 2025, we had like Amazon AI angle that really took off. Previously, it was like just like passive income on Amazon without physical products, right? That was the main angle on the front end because like with physical products there's like a lot of headaches. You have to buy a bunch of inventory. With digital products on Amazon, if you have your digital product once, Amazon does the selling, and it's very, very scalable, very, very fast.
And just for some context, I think people know the other ones, but Kindle might be a little bit of a newer one. It's just like teaching people how to make money using or making digital books on Kindle. That's pretty much the mechanism. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense. So the people that you're getting in the funnel are people that already tried Amazon FBA typically?
No, not necessarily. Like these are beginners, just want to learn how to make, it's obviously biz op, so earn income on the side. There are definitely like people that already know how to publish or self-publish, but most of them are like beginners just learning how to, publish their first book, and they want to make some money on the side.
Another big insight here, the guru's female. So you guys only target females with this funnel, right?
No, not necessarily. We did do that in 2022, but now it's like open for male and females. But that was also one of the bigger things. We just focused on females when we did start scaling up during that phase. But now, in 2025, we have the Amazon AI angle, which is like open to anyone. Back then, it was like we made the tweak of like just speaking to the female crowd more on, like just speaking on like stay at home moms, females, female entrepreneurs, want to like build a side business from home, from your laptop, things of that nature.
Interesting. Why did you end up tamming out to men as well?
It's just like a broader market, right? You could scale harder, you could spend more. Not to say, females didn't do well. It absolutely crushed, but like, the stage we're at now, like it only makes sense to like scale horizontally, which is like enable the next demographic, which is males, because there's a lot of buyers on that side too.
Makes sense. Nice. Interesting. What about this? Okay, so this has been my consideration lately, running sort of like the webinar VSL in different areas and like thinking about it. With the VSL, right, you have the applications, and so you know the level of lead quality that you're getting because you could see the responses. With the webinar, it's not so much. It's just the opt-in, and you see, and then you get the purchase, and then at the end, after you get the purchase, then you can see their application because then they fill it out. Or do you have a fill out, or is it like direct to book a call?
No, there is a fill out form.
Right, so form, then book a call. How do you balance that? Because the cost to get an application is so much higher versus on a VSL and a webinar funnel, where the webinar funnel, the cost to get an application is like much higher than like I think a VSL it's like $30, right? For this one, how much is it? Like $3,000 for like an application?
For an application? What do you mean?
Mm-hmm.
So like,
In like a
on
webinar
the
funnel.
webinar funnel, we don't really have an application, right? Because they're prompted to buy the product.
Mm-hmm. So I guess the question is like, how do you know who's qualified? How do you know who you should go after on the ads?
For the webinar or the VSL?
Yes, the webinar.
So the webinar funnel, the main goal for the ads is to bring in volume and to be break even on the front end. What that means is like the product is 2K, the CAC to acquire a new customer should be at 2K as well. Our funnel hovers from 0.8 all the way to 1x. So that's kind of like the main goal. And then anything on the back end is just like adding to the net margins, right? So I'll kind of gravy on top. So as long as we could liquidate the front end ad spend with the mid ticket product, which is AOV on the front end 2K, and then CAC on the front end is also 2K. That's the ideal scenario because then you could just like scale up if you want to scale up. Obviously, you want to make sure back end fulfillment is dialed in, and there's no issues there with scaling. But that's kind of like the main goal. On the VSL funnel, the main goal is
no, but like for the webinar, I'm curious about that because you're scaling 2K, but some people can afford the 2K, they can't afford the 10K. So how do you know if you're getting qualified people is the question.
So like, yeah, the goal there is like you are able to see like there is a percent of 2K buyers that ascend into the 10K, right? There's going to be a percentage of these folks. As long as we have a high above 30% of people that take that, right? You want to do the overall LTV to CAC ratio. So for example, just on the front end, the overall LTV is going to be 2K, CAC is going to be 2K, right? But if you combine the back end, LTV now could look a bit different. It could be 4.5 to 5K, right? Based on your ascension, but your LTV or your CAC is still 2K because that doesn't change. You've already brought in that customer in the door. So that's kind of the main overall macro optimization.
You're seeing like who takes the back. Interesting.
Yeah. Some campaigns are going to have a much better ratio than some other ones, right? And then you just look at the back end as well. You look at the front end. As long as the front end you're bringing in, a decent type of folks coming into the door with your overall ROAS on the front end, and then you combine it with the back end ROAS as well. You have an overall picture of the business then.
What is your ROAS on that funnel right now?
For what?
Typically
front end, or overall?
Not front, like the whole thing.
So overall, and this is just monthly, right? Because if you look at a 6-month window, it's going to change. So if you're looking at a 30-day window, overall, it hovers from 2x all the way to 3x. Some months it's on the 3x level. And that's very, very predicated on the front end as well. Because if you're breaking even on the front end, your overall ROAS is going to be way healthier, right? And it's going to be on the closer to the 3x mark. But if let's say for example, some weeks we're sitting at a point 0.7, you know what I mean, on the front end, but other weeks we're at a 1.2, so it averages out. But that's kind of like the overall ranges month over month.
Interesting. Are we trying to shoot for like a 5x, or aren't we trying to shoot for a 5x?
5x you can, but then you need another product in the back end, which is 20 to 30K product. And if you do have that, I think that is attainable, because then it's always ladders, right? You have the mid ticket, then you have the boot camp, which is at 8 to 10K. Then you could also have another one, which is 20 to 30K. Could be more of an in person, more of a close knit community mastermind type. And now, if a percent of these folks take that, you're adding your CAC is still 2K, right? But now your LTV from 5K, it might be at 8K or 10K. And now, if it's 10K, now you're at a 5X, right? So, yeah, there's always levels.
Would you say that you need the back end for the 5x? Or
Yeah,
that
you need multiple ascensions.
you typically need the back end for the 5x? Got it. Okay. Cool. Nice stuff. Now let's get a little bit into some other sauce. I would say in particular, I remember you talking about like YouTube, and I put meat buying, but media buy or meta media buying, and the biggest differences on it. I think you already actually touched upon this, but just like high level, go for it. It was like bigger TAM on the YouTube, and then like tell me about those differences on YouTube and meta, and like actually tell me also like which one you prefer. Like gun to your head, you could only have one of them. Which one would you keep? And I would kill the other one.
I started with Facebook, right? Meta, with dropshipping, right? So that was like my first one. But if I have a gun, bro, like I'm going with YouTube. It's just like, it's so much better, right? Like in terms of like the things I touched upon earlier, you do have that 5 seconds, right? To build credibility, to call out the right person. Google just has so much data, right? Like it just has so much data across the entire internet just because it has Google search. It just has so much data, right? And then I was back in like a couple of years ago, Google knows like it actually like, tracks your mouse and how you're moving your mouse. So if, for example, if the way I move my mouse is going to be the way I move my mouse, right? But for example, if someone else is on my laptop and they're moving their mouse in a different way, Google's going to know that. The algorithms, the backend data gets fed crazy amounts of data that we don't even realize, right? Same thing on Meta, right? Meta's algos are very, very smart. They have a ton of data as well. But yeah, I just love YouTube. I've spent most of my money on YouTube. There's more of a creative aspect.
Yeah, right. But besides experience, let's say you had equivalent experience on both. Which one would you get into now for the aspiring people out there?
So it depends on your niche, obviously, right? Some niches do a lot better. For example, if I'm running e-com or drop shipping or
no, let's say only info coaching.
Info.
Like which one would you?
If I'm at info, I'm probably gonna just go with YouTube, just because the way people are on YouTube and Google, right? They're more heavier on their intent when they're on that platform versus on Meta. Your intent for your business or your mindset is slightly different, right? Meta, you're just scrolling. YouTube, you're there to like either focus by like, listening to like some deep work music, for example, or you're trying to learn and you're going through like, for example, Hermosi, you're going through these info coaches on YouTube and trying to learn and get knowledge. So imagine you have a prospect that's learning and you show them an ad that really tells them about, this is what we do, this is our service, this is your pain point, and this is a solution right at the exact time, right? They're most likely going to click. They're going to be a higher intent buyer or a clicker compared to a Meta clicker where,
doom scroller.
Doom scroller, exactly. So that's why I would go
another
after
question
that.
Here.
Yeah.
Do you have a YouTube course, or do you have a YouTube media buying course or coaching, which is why you're pushing YouTube so hard? You got agenda here, buddy?
I may have one, bro. You never know. If you want one, you gotta get in my DMs and
I better get my affiliate fee. Right.
Exactly. I did create something for YouTube actually. Nothing like, it was more of a beginner type
Oh,
YouTube
shit, so you
course.
have one.
I do actually,
All
which
right,
was in
at
like
least 40%. You got it, or else I'm cutting this part out.
no, for sure. But it's like it's probably outdated. But it does have like, the basics of like, hey,
Mm,
if you're brand new and you know some media buying on Meta, hey, you know you could
mm,
kind of like do the setups, the things of that nature on YouTube as well.
mm. Got it. All right, cool. Well, if I get up my 40%, then go buy it, guys. Down description.
It's not going to be out there,
Not play.
so yeah, it's not going to be out
Yeah,
there.
I know. All right. I think another question that I asked here before was your daily workflow as a media buyer. What your morning looks like, what your midday looks like, what your evening looks like. Give me a breakdown of that.
Yeah, so like 5, 6 years ago, it was completely different to now, right? Like now it's more of managing teams, right? So to be the best of the best, you got to know how to run media and how to create offers and know the marketing game as well a bit more. And what I mean by that is like you got to know the creative side of things as well and not just the data side. Because if you only know the data side, so much of marketing and media buying now is on the creative aspect, and the algorithms look into the creative so much more compared to back in the day. So now it's like, at least my day is like, hey, managing the editors, managing the copywriters, managing our media buying team, managing the data person, right? Making sure everyone's dialed in, they're doing their stuff. And then at the same time, managing client expectation and having the right communications in place. So the clients are like happy and they know what's going on, how things are moving. And I still media buy for a certain clients, like for certain people as well on YouTube, right? So then it's also
Why?
like
Why don't you outsource that to the media buyer?
on the bigger accounts, it's like, especially because we also have internal stuff, especially when we're launching these internal offers, you want to have a good basis, right? You want to prove it out. You want to have that A player in there versus like outsource it out,
Makes
right?
sense.
So that's the main reason. Only on the bigger accounts and the internal offers where we know we control 100% of this offer and we want to scale it out. And to be honest, I've trained like media buyers in the past on YouTube, but like I haven't found a duplicate of myself so far. Not to say like I'm great or anything, but there are some nuances of experience, nuances of
Yeah, like
like,
let me ask that, right? Like, or what are the specific scenarios where somebody like you would need to be on the account? Because I guess like maybe with my preconceived notion of media buying, mostly it's button clicking and then like increasing the spend and whatnot. However, I guess there's certain areas where like that experience is needed. So tell me about that. Like, what are those areas where like that experience is very much needed?
yeah, exactly. And maybe there's a different term for that, right? Like media buying today would be just like you're in the account in Google Ads or Meta Ads, and all you're doing is like clicking the buttons there. I think there should be another term because when I say media buying, it's like you're not only in the account, but you're also looking in the creative side. You're in the funnels. You're looking into the data. You're talking to
Performance
chat.
marketing.
Exactly. You have a whole arsenal of things that you have to do, and to be the best, you have to do all of these things. If you're only sitting in the account, you're not going to be the best because you're just going to be button clicking, and you're not going to see everything. And to be the best media buyer, you got to see the front end, the ads, the production, the editing, the scripting, running the media, the account setup, the optimization event, the campaign structuring, the ads itself in there, the funnels, the landing pages, the opt-in pages, the VSLs, how that looks like, and then the data of like all of that, and then the backend sales team, right? You got to know everything.
Yeah, I think the concept there is like that you talked about. It's systems thinking, not siloed thinking, thinking about the whole macro idea instead of that. And I think another good analogy I could pull there is that is almost like a role of a creator, almost, or like a creative director in a way, where creative directors, creators, they're sitting there like if you're bringing from like the organic world, right? For some people that are watching this, they can relate to that. Where the creative director, the creator, they're typically like managing the editors, they're looking at their analytics on YouTube or Instagram, wherever, and they're looking at their data. But then also there's the business side of it, which is the funnel and the sales team, and then all of those together. Which I mean, basically, it's like an entrepreneur. Like that's the gist of it,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
being the
exactly,
founder.
exactly. Because if you're just looking at the platform, you're not going to get too far, right? Because you're actually involved in spending money, right? Which is the key, the most important part of the business, of any business. How much did we spend and what did we get back? And if you don't know what we got back, you're in big trouble. And to know what you got back, you got to do all of that stuff.
100%. And I think last gist here, you basically, just to understand what you're working in, like the company that you're working in, you are like the main media buying or paid ads performance marketing partner in like a larger agency or like holding company, or like how would you call it, that Abdul and all the Faroki cartel
Yeah,
has.
just
Tell me
like
about that.
yeah, the agency, right? So like I head up the paid marketing side, performance marketing. We have a team of some media buyers, data analysts. We have editing on the back end, scripting, chief copy strategist, right? So that's what I'm in charge of. And then we also have sales. We have affiliate division. We have email monetization. We have the tech side, and that is the way we are able to like vertically integrate is like by going through all of the stuff that we went through over the last 5 years, and it is like helping all of these offer owners and creators back in the day with Amazon, with Airbnb, with all of these offers, go from 0 to like 7 figures per month, right? And that's why we have that infrastructure at Trident Growth now. We have the best of the best people working in their zone of geniuses, and we our goal is to like launch 4 brand new companies every single year. Why can we do that? Because we have all that infrastructure now, and we've gone through that journey of like not just once but multiple times, that journey of 0 to 1. So yeah, that's kind of like where I'm sitting now. My main goal for the next 12 months would be like, obviously build and not like more within my team, do more of like the SOP creation, things of that nature. Because like with the SOP creation, it's all about systems then, right? And then I will be able to get away from the day to days as long as you have the right systems, the right SOPs, and that's how you're able to like more help out mid-market clients, right, within the agency, based on the systems, based on the SOP. So that's my 12-year thing, and inshallah, we get there.
Nice. 12 month, not 12 year.
Yeah, 12 month.
Nice. Hell yeah. Well, I mean, of course, for us, you can find me at Tim H. Yoon on Instagram. Go down there because we actually asked a lot of the questions that people wanted to ask from the Instagram stories today here to Uzi.
Yeah, you could obviously find me just on Facebook, Uzair Faruqi, regular name.
Facebook.
I created X as well recently, so you could find me there at bearded_ads guy. So you might see me there. I'm not too active there, but like one of my goals is to be more active on X as well. So you could find me, send me a DM, send me a
I like it.
follow. Yeah, those are
I
the
think
two
that's a good platform
places.
for you. Awesome, guys. Awesome, Uzi. And thank you guys for watching another episode of The Tim Yoon Show. See ya. Peace.